Scruffy Audio Network.
Listen, only one of us can be inappropriate on this thing.
And it's certainly not me.
I think that's probably my job. It is you sometimes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Anyway, hey, welcome to Why Would You Go There, podcast about travel. I am Troy, and I'm here with
Lee.
And who else? Somebody that's very special to you.
Oh, very special to me.
Yeah.
Wagwan.
Yeah, it's a little early, but yeah, it's my wife, Georgette from 3D Women. Because we haven't talked about where we're going to talk about. We have a pattern. We introduce ourselves, and then we talk about what we're going to talk about, and then we talk about what we talk about,
You're
and
so
then we
angry.
and then we talk
He's
about what we talked about.
Man.
Yeah,
I'm a little angry man.
I didn't say angry little man, but it was there.
We were all thinking it.
So today we're going to talk about
Jamaica, Mom.
Jamaica, the home of Cool Runnings and Usain Bolt. So, yes,
great
exactly.
movie.
And the thing that I love about Jamaica is you've never been there.
That is so true.
Why have
Thanks
you never
for rubbing
been
it in
there?
my face. I don't know. It's just
Obviously, your priorities are jacked up. You're going to Iceland next month, but you've never been to
Same
Jamaica.
as Jamaica.
There's something wrong with you, man.
You never been to Jamaica, and that's why Georgette's joined us because I can't do both jobs by myself. So
we know that.
He's got trouble with just doing one.
No.
Oh gosh!
Sorry. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This has gone terribly wrong at the 1 minute mark.
Yeah. This is definitely by far on track to be the most inappropriate one, which is saying something.
So just do the job.
Listen, if you think this is inappropriate, please go listen to the Grease podcast because it is by far more inappropriate than this.
Yeah. So it's been a while. It's good to see
we've
you
been
again.
off.
Yeah.
We've been off for about a month or so,
Yeah.
and I know people are getting restless. They are just coming up to me during the day and saying, "Hey, what can you tell me about anywhere in the world?"
My life is pointless. I need something to live for. I'm
so
waiting for a
true.
podcast. That's what they tell me.
That is so true. And I know that that's true because we have had a ton
You said
of...
so.
Because well, that's
That's true.
But we've had a ton of people listen to podcasts over the course of the time that we've been gone.
Yeah.
So
But we haven't released
you can
one.
still do that, folks.
Yes.
Just go back. If you get lonely for the sound of my voice, then just go
The
back
screaming little man.
go back and listen
He's
to
just a little guy.
any of these podcasts. I mean, heck, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm lonely, I just go listen to myself talk.
So true.
And that has nothing to do with all the listens you've gotten over the time you haven't been podcasting.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah. But we, it's good. So, yeah, let's talk Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. And maybe you'll post something on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, so how many times
knows?
have you tweeted in the last month? Give me a guess.
About our podcast?
Yeah.
Probably a handful.
No,
maybe,
good job.
Maybe 10,
Okay,
5
good.
to 10.
That is 10 more times than I have posted anything on Instagram.
You worthless wee little man.
Hey, we're going to get over this wee little man thing. I can use that joke, but I don't want you guys using it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, so we're talking about Jamaica, and it's just a little bit of history because I know you have nothing to contribute. So Georgette and I will run this thing.
Yeah, so thanks for letting me introduce it then, at least.
Well, you did the best that you could. And you can also say our motto when we leave. Other than that,
thank you.
Other than that, you just sit there and keep your mouth shut.
I'm just watching the love fest here. If only the listeners could see what I'm seeing.
Largest island in the Caribbean. It is about the size of Connecticut. So that's how
Connecticut's not an island.
Whoa.
You idiot.
Yeah.
I'm so stupid. I got that one wrong.
Man.
If you're comparing it to states in the United States, it's about the size of Connecticut. So it's a pretty small island. But again, the third largest in the Caribbean. So let's talk about, we typically would talk about,
is that all you're going to say about the island? You're not going to talk about they were a British colony?
You do that.
The
Okay,
Queen.
good.
Well,
great job.
I thought you did your research.
I did research about the things that I care about. What you should do is talk about the things you care about.
So there's some cool things about Jamaica, and unfortunately, I didn't do all the research because I thought Troy was going to have like all the Jamaican details.
Why would you think that? Why would you? Don't look on my paper.
You're
do
the
your
one
own
who
stuff.
said you did research.
No, I researched about what I care about, which is what everybody else cares about. Nobody cares about anything anybody says except what I say.
Do you see what I? So you got to deal with this at home, and I've got to deal with it here.
I've been bottling this up for a month. I'm so glad I finally have this release here.
I think I'm going to go roll up in a corner and
There's no releasing here.
Now, boys.
Okay, sweetheart. So
now, boys.
So tell us what you want to talk about the island and its history.
It's
kind
of cool because, and I'm, if you fact check me, you're going to find that I'm like
lying.
I screw up all the time. But it's kind of cool because Jamaica was like under the British rule for a long time, and then they weren't. And so for a long time, the Queen, they were like...
Are these exact dates?
Yeah, exact dates. Yes. So for a long time, they were under British rule. They're getting aid from England. They're being taken care of. The Queen is saying build roads. The Queen is saying, build facilities to house, people who can't take care of themselves, the elderly, the disabled, whatever. And then at some point, and I don't know the date, they gained their independence. And then once they gained their independence, I
think it was 53, but I'm not sure.
Kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yep.
So the roads stopped being kept up. The money kind of, dwindled.
Hey, let me stop for a second and introduce Lee. This is Lee and I'm Troy. We do a travel podcast telling people about places they want to go. We don't talk trash about places unless it's New Orleans.
Yeah.
But it's British, so it has like little, what are those things called? It's the St. Mary Parish. It has parishes.
Okay.
It has parishes and things that it's kind of cool. So you'll hear a lot of British terminology for things in Jamaica because they were ruled by the British. They have like a parliament and all this jazz. So
are you guys going to do any Jamaica speak?
Yeah, man.
She's a wagwan.
There we go. Yeah. What did you say?
Wagwan.
What does that mean?
That's what's going on.
What's going on?
Nice.
Yeah, man.
That is how you greet people all the time in Jamaica. Hey, wagwan.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man.
Okay, and of course we know, so they speak patois in Jamaica. This is a mix of...
this is a family show.
Okay.
It's really not, actually.
It's a mix of a bunch of different stuff. But and it's interesting to listen to Jamaicans talk, and they speak English and patois, and so when they don't want you to know what they're saying, when they really don't, when they're talking about you,
yeah.
Actually, when they don't want you to know what they're saying, they just speak. It's hard to understand what the heck they're saying. But
if they really don't want you to know what they're saying, they'll switch into the patois, and otherwise they'll just talk to each other. And it's really hard because they put the emphasis on different parts of the words. It's kind of cool.
Interesting.
So I noticed that you wrote, the very first thing that you wrote on the board was Anthony Bourdain.
Heck yeah.
Is he Jamaican?
No.
Or was he Jamaican?
No. But if you want to get a view into Jamaica and you want to hear a little bit more about the food and the culture, Anthony Bourdain did a show in Jamaica. And it's fabulous. He actually went to an area that Troy will more than likely talk about today.
Probably not.
You're not going to talk about the whatever. He gave me the run on. He gave me the, me the
hurry up.
That means move along or talk about what
Anthony Bourdain. Yeah. He's awesome. Go watch his Jamaica show.
Yeah, he's known for doing that stuff that's kind of off the beaten path and
really cool.
He did some great stuff. Sorry. Moving along. How many times have you guys been to Jamaica?
Georgette's been there one time more than me. She took some other dude.
Whoa, like it. It's probably a good idea on her part.
I think she's been there 8 times and I've been there 7.
Whoa.
So we always go, normally go with a group of friends and have done that. We do some volunteer work down there.
Okay. How many, so is that every time or have you went there just for like vacation?
No, never for vacation, but you get some vacation time in it.
Yeah.
But
you haven't been there on a cruise?
No, which is strange because, we pass right by Ocho Rios and Falmouth, which is where all the cruise ships come in. And we've cruised a ton of times, but no, we've actually
not to Jamaica yet.
Been to Jamaica more times than we've been on a cruise.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So we typically we would be talking about how to get around, but if you're going to Jamaica, you're
Don't
not.
You dare leave it out. Yeah. As much as you love
no,
it, you better
I want to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know how kids get to and from school in Jamaica?
Walk.
They ride if it's too far to walk, they ride in cabs, and a cab is somebody's car that has a special license plate on it. And do you know how many people can fit into a cab? It is amazing. Yeah. The children just sit on top of each other, and they're like hanging out windows and doors.
So it's like something you and I would fit like maybe 4 people in, and they got like 12.
Yes, yes. They just awesome. Pile them in.
There's some racist jokes here, but we're going to leave them alone.
They just pile the children in.
Watch what you're saying, Lee.
I didn't say anything.
He said you and I, Americans. We are spoiled rotten.
Yeah.
I mean, and these little bitty children too, like 6 and 7 years old, are riding in these cabs, and there's just bunches of people in there, or these buses, and again, bunches of people in there, and they just kind of stand alongside the road and flag them down and jump in and go.
Oh, nice.
That is a way to get around in Jamaica.
But you're not going to.
You could.
Yeah. The chances
there's
are slim
nothing
that you're
wrong
going
with
to,
you flagging down a cab.
You're going to get a cab or
he's not going to ride in a cab
from the airport to whatever resort you're going.
He's way too good for that.
Whatever resort you're going to, but then you're not going to leave the resort most likely.
Yeah.
Or if you're on a cruise ship, you're going to get off the cruise ship, and you're just going to take whatever transportation they have. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to talk about transportation on this particular podcast.
There are horses that you can ride out in the water.
Yeah,
you can do an excursion from your all-inclusive resort and go ride the horses through the waves. There's all kinds of pictures of that.
So the real crux of what we're going to talk about is the things to do, because they're all the things to do in Jamaica. And
I hear you can take horses into the water.
You can
do that. We have stayed really on the north side of the island. We haven't gotten down to Kingston or any place along there.
So is there any major city on the north side or no?
Yeah, well, Montego Bay is on the north side. Okay. And
that's where you fly in.
Where most folks fly in. Okay. Negril is kind of on the north west side. Ocho Rios, which is a huge tourist attraction. And then...
So this is what's kind of cool. Negril is where you stay to watch the sun set. No, wait.
Yeah, it was in the west.
Sunset, yeah. And then Ocho Rios is where you can go watch the sunrise.
Oh, cool.
You really need to go further, but you could,
Yeah.
See the sunrise.
Cool.
Yeah. Ocho Rios is where you go to see sunrise.
Yeah.
I'm talking to myself, sorry.
Yeah. So
that's how I think.
So a lot of these places are going to be right around
I'm not playing with y'all
those tourist places, right? So what's the number one thing that you're going to do? And not the number one on TripAdvisor. I will tell you what the number one thing on TripAdvisor is in a minute, because it's bogus. But the number one thing that you're going to do when you go to Jamaica is sit on the beach.
Yeah.
Great, man.
I was going to say eat chicken, but sit on the beach.
That's under food. We haven't ordered this. We do the things to do, then we do the food last.
I get excited to talk about food.
I know
Sorry.
you do.
Go ahead.
But
beaches.
Yeah, beach is the number one thing that you're going to do. Besides chicken. Do some chicken. So there's great beaches. They also have a lot of rocky beaches too. So there'll be a lot of places where there's good sand and there's a great beach, and you've got some area that you can just lay out and hang out on the beach. Those are obviously kind of the sandals areas and all those resorts and so forth. But then there's also a lot of rocky areas. When we travel, we usually go pretty far to the east, all the way out to St. Mary's.
St. Mary's Parish.
Port Maria, which is really kind of rocky. They got a little bit of beachy area, but it's really more.
They have a big beach down in the town.
Yep.
They've got a nice crescent beach that when you stand on that beach, you can see Pig Island. And Pig Island is where Captain Morgan would dock his boats.
Is that Goat Island?
Goat Island, whichever.
Of course.
Pig Island.
Remember that.
I told you not to fact check me. Goat Island. Yeah. There's a tiny little island out there called Goat Island.
Yeah, and you say big beach.
It's a good-sized beach.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the rocks.
Small.
So you mean rocks like you can't really hardly walk on them, or do you mean like cliff rocks like you
there's
jump
some cliff
off
areas.
of?
There's some cliff areas.
Okay.
I don't know that I jump off
them
because there's rocks all at the bottom.
Okay.
But the whole island is very mountainous. So right as soon as you get off the beach in a lot of places, you're right in the mountains.
It's so crazy how some of these islands, like Jamaica, I assume, but
yeah,
they have these mountainous areas. It's so crazy. There's a lot of those that are like that.
We're going to talk about it later, but she's got it written up there. Georgette does on things to do. Blue Mountain Coffee. So Blue Mountain Coffee that's world renowned coffee that is grown. The beans are grown in the mountains. Crazy.
And there are people who live in the mountains that have never seen the ocean in Jamaica.
Yeah, and they're not that far from the ocean. But when you live in poverty and so
that's true.
You don't have the opportunity to get down to the beach. So beach is obviously number one. The next couple of things are right around Ocho Rios, which we
go back to the beach. Hold on one
What
second.
are you going to talk about?
So beach wise, like how would you rate it compared to other beaches as far as like sand and water and? Are you talking about that later or no?
No.
I don't think I've been in the water several times, and it's not like Bahamas water. Okay. And I know that they're right there, right? But the water to me is rougher and not as clear or blue.
I would agree with that. Okay. It's not like Key West or the Keys or anything.
Not the water we've been in. Not the northeast side of it.
I think maybe because it's more in the Gulf Stream area. Maybe there's more, or maybe it's because it's less. I don't know, but there seems to be more. It's not as clear. It's still beautiful.
Well, the wiki page, because that's where I go is wiki pages. The wiki page for Jamaica says that Negril is known for its snorkeling and its water. So the Negril water because on islands you can have a totally different experience in the water from one side of the island to the other. So it may be better in Negril, but the northeast side of the island, it's choppy. It's not as pretty blue, but it's still nice.
And there's also some depression right there, right off the island.
Great. It's
some kind of rift that goes right off the island. Yeah. That goes miles down. So that might have something to do with it. So the beaches are good. The water's not as great as I would. If you're not going there for that. You're going there for kind of the islandy stuff that you can do that's around either Montego Bay. And they have some nice beaches around Montego Bay, which is right where you fly into. Ocho Rios, though, has got kind of other cool things like the Blue Hole, which I have not been to, but you have. That trip that you went without me, you guys did that. And that's actually number 3 on TripAdvisor.
Is it really?
Yeah, and it's got a ton of reviews.
The Blue Hole is beautiful. So this is water coming down from the mountains, freezing, freaking cold. Really cold. But it's just you drive a little way to get out there. You walk up, and it's just gorgeous waterfalls. You can walk up the waterfalls. You can see multiple waterfalls. There's this one massive rock that has water coming down it that the people in our party, the guys, the trail guys that were very nice looking young men, by the way, and were very good at diving off of rocks. They're like, oh yeah, you can dive off these rocks. See, it's so easy. This is a huge rock that's like, anyways, people from our party jumped off of that rock and got in trouble. And so, because it was very dangerous, but it was gorgeous. And it's, they've got some places that you can jump off really high and it's safe. But that in particular was not, because it was a huge rock.
Yeah. So Blue Hole,
gorgeous.
Blue Hole.
So go there.
Blue Hole, Blue Hole, gorgeous. And
go there.
For all the ladies listening, it will be a pleasure.
Okay.
So it's a must see.
It's a must see
outside of the males. I meant for the.
It's a must see.
Okay. I know exactly what she meant. Yeah. That's why she went without me. And then another place that's right there in Ocho Rios is Dunn's River Falls, which I have been to. We've both been to. And that's both of those places are, when the cruise ships come in, they're going to direct folks there. They're going to be, if you're cruising there, they're going to be one of the excursions. Both of those will be a different excursion. And Dunn's River Falls is basically this sloping waterfall. And again, it's water that comes off the mountain and is dumping right into the sea. And it's tons of rocks. And you can actually start at the bottom of the waterfall, and it's probably about 50 yards wide at places, and then it narrows a little bit. You can climb all the way up to the mouth of the fall, or to the start of the fall. So it's kind of that's pretty interesting. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you need some kind of water shoes. It's kind of difficult.
You definitely need water shoes,
and you're going to be. If you don't have good balance, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to want to make sure you don't have your phone.
You struggle.
And there were places where I was like, yeah, I'm going to go over here and get out and go around that part of the fall and then get back in. So I did that quite a bit because, I thought I was going to be swept under and have my head bashed against the rocks and just blood gushing out. And I didn't want medical attention in Jamaica.
Sounds like a must-see right there.
But it's great for the kids.
That's cool. That's neat. You don't think of waterfalls. I don't think, I don't.
But there are tons of waterfalls in Jamaica.
Really cool.
And they're all relatively small. They're not going to be like South American waterfalls or something like that. Yeah. And there's not a lot of straight off waterfalls. There's a lot of sloping waterfalls, but there's still it's still beautiful, and it's wonderful to see.
There's a beach down at the bottom of Dunn's River, so you can make an afternoon of it. Oh, cool. You can take.
Yeah, I imagine that if we did, but I imagine that those people that do it on cruise ships are there for all day.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, you go, hang out on the beach for a little while, go walking up and down this fall, and I mean it's large, and they have handholds and stuff in some places.
Yeah, and it is number 4 on TripAdvisor. These are things that I looked on TripAdvisor for. Just for things to do in Jamaica. So number 3 and number 4 are right there in Ocho Rios, which is a big town, and it's a port, and it's a big town for tourists. You have Montego Bay, Negril, Montego Bay, and Ocho Rios are probably the 3 biggest cities in Jamaica I say town, it's really a city, for tourists.
Also in Ocho Rios, they have that the place where you go shopping. With and all the local people. No, the local people have their little booths set up, and you're outside and you go shopping.
Basically, like a flea market.
A flea market, yeah. They got like a market out there. So you in Ocho Rios, if you want to go and experience people and just see or hear interesting or smell interesting things, you go.
I think I'm smelling that now.
And you just the further to the back end of the market you get, the more odoriferous it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so you will.
The more aromatherapy you have.
We don't use those big words. We don't have listeners that understand that stuff.
Yeah, this is a family show. So ganja is rampant in Jamaica, and you're going to smell it everywhere.
It's actually illegal to have in small portions because it's religious.
Yeah, not
interesting.
Although
were you all religious?
She says it's religious. 70% of Jamaicans are Christian. It's the other 30% that
Rastafarian.
Not all Rastafarian, but most of them are, and those are the groups that. And I'm sure there's some Christians that partake. So you will smell it everywhere
because maybe they're Christians with a little Rastafarian in there,
or maybe they just want to smoke.
Yeah, maybe.
And Jesus didn't say nothing about smoking no ganja. Yeah. It's fine.
And when you meet up with a Rastafarian, it's so cool because they're like, peace, man. It's all about peace. You hear peace like 15,000 times. Respect. That's their respect. Yeah, he's correcting me because I don't tell the truth. It's respect.
It's all about peace and Pig Island. So basically, we've learned that Georgette has a general idea about what it is, but facts, forget about it.
I married you so that you could correct me.
8 times. What do you expect?
I married you so you could correct me.
Another thing to do. I told you earlier that I would tell you about the number 1 thing to do on TripAdvisor. Yeah. It was some kind.
You need a drum roll?
No.
Oh.
It was some kind of Montego Bay resort, but it had 1 review, and I'm pretty sure that the resort wrote the review, and they gave
How
it like.
How did it get to number 1?
I don't know, but they gave it like 5 stars, and I think maybe if it's the only one with 5 stars, it gets to the front.
No way.
So they gave themselves 5 stars, and it sounded like an advertisement. So I'm gonna not tell you the name of it because it sounded fake.
It.
But another thing to do is, and I do not know where this is. Well, I do know technically where it is. It's on the island. But Appleton Estates. So do you know what Appleton is? You have to know what Appleton is.
I don't think so.
It's rum. That's the Jamaican. That's the original Jamaican rum.
We're starting with the alcohol.
Yes,
I'll come back in 30 minutes.
When
you guys are done talking.
So we've brought plenty of Jamaican rum back, but Appleton is the original, and you can go and tour their facilities. You can see how they made the rum out of the sugar cane.
So is it better from Jamaica?
It's actually better from Cuba. But I love Jamaica so much. Now, Appleton rum is good. It's great, but it's not like, to me, bourbon. You can really tell a difference. You can tell a little bit of difference, but I mean, rum is rum to me. So Appleton's good. Yeah. But I think it's better from.
Yes,
tour what?
Explore around Appleton Estate rum experience.
Yeah, a rum experience. Now, see, if you have a rum experience, then it's going to be great. So what else do you have written up there, dear, besides the things that we've talked about already? Show me what's written up. Don't look at your phone. Look at the book.
So that's all you were going to say about rum?
Yeah, well, you talk.
Wow.
I was waiting for somebody else to contribute.
I told you, I'm not playing with you anymore.
Oh, man. Yeah. It sounds like you're going to be lonely.
So Captain Morgan, right? Yeah. So Captain Morgan, I mean, that's, there's like this thing that, Captain Morgan lived on the island of Jamaica. And so he
Pig Island?
Yes, right off of Goat Island. So you got Captain Morgan, but then there's also Ian Fleming made his home in Jamaica. Ian Fleming wrote some great novels that I couldn't tell you a name of one
James
of them.
Bond.
Thank you.
James Bond. All the James Bond books. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
She couldn't tell you one of them. They're all James Bond.
I didn't realize. Okay, so Ian Fleming lived in Jamaica. He actually went to Jamaica to be a spy or to be in the military, but then he ended up kind of staying in Jamaica or going back to Jamaica. But there is an Ian Fleming airport right outside of Ocho Rios, and it's just a small airport. So you fly big
yeah, you could not fly in there from internationally.
Yeah, you fly big airplanes into Montego Bay, and then if you have lots of money, you fly a little airplane out to Ian Fleming Airport, because it takes a good 2 hours to get from Montego Bay Airport to Ocho Rios.
That's probably right.
On the road.
Yeah. That's probably right.
But Ian Fleming Airport is right there, and on top of that, you can rent his home, and his home was a couple of different bungalows or whatever, and he had a beach and just a really cool location.
I will be so glad when we start releasing video podcasts so that people can see all the cool things that my wife is doing with her hands.
Yeah,
because what is going on over there? She's about to slap the microphone.
I think she's doing sign language.
She really is. She needs you to understand.
She's doing sign language for the deaf. They're listening to our podcast
for the deaf. I'm like, what is going on over here? I'm afraid I'm going to get slapped at any moment.
I do not doubt that, everywhere. And you deserve it if you get it.
I talk with my hands.
Oh. Yeah. Anyway, so
you got Ian Fleming.
Yeah, and did you want to talk more about Captain Morgan, or was that it?
No, I didn't have anything else to say about Captain Morgan. Is Pig Island.
Which
is right outside Port Maria.
As long as you said something about Captain Morgan. So, he's a pirate. And then he became governor. He became governor of Jamaica. So basically, that's Henry Morgan.
Not know that.
And he's one of their national heroes. And the reason they became governor is because they were like, this pirate is just destroying our colony. So let's make him governor so he'll stop destroying the colony.
Nice.
There you
go. Basically, that's what we do in this country, too.
Bada bing.
This politician is destroying everything. Let's make him president.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of the things to do. I'm sure there are tons of things to do in Kingston. I've never been there.
Okay, so the one thing you didn't talk about was music. There is music every single night. There is a party somewhere every single night, and it is reggae. Or it is, it's reggae.
Is this people playing music, or is it people like radio?
This is people playing music. This is radio. You will be somewhere, and there will be a car driving down the street with huge speakers on the roof, and they'll be like playing really loud music and talking about going to a party somewhere or to a show somewhere, all up and down the street. So there's always, you see signs everywhere of gorgeous women, well endowed. And, and these parties.
This is a family podcast again.
And you see and you hear.
Of all the people I thought I would have to I thought I would have to talk, slow down. I didn't think it was going to be my wife.
But you see and
talking
you
about
hear,
voluptuous women.
What's the one little town that you always say you want to stop in? Because on a Friday, Aracabesa.
Is that the one with all the billboards?
Yeah. On a Friday night, Aracabesa is on this hairpin curve, and it's a hairpin curve that goes up a mountain. It's crazy. So you have to slow way down to get around the curve. But on top of that, you drive through there on a Friday or Saturday night, and you are driving through a mass of humanity that is just, remember, this is an island town, so they're dressed islandy, and there are young people that are out for the evening, and there's music blasting on all sides of you. It's fun. It's just exciting. There's energy. Yep. It's really great.
All right, let's talk about Lee's favorite subject.
Oh, yeah, now we're talking.
Troy?
Good one. That was actually funny.
I was like, wait a minute.
That was hilarious.
You both just kind of looked at me like, what?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's true, and we didn't know anybody knew that.
Oh, God.
And then second of all, it was hilarious, and I did not expect that from you.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Whatever.
No, let's talk about food, and that will really kind of wrap it up. This is kind of a short podcast for two people that have been there 7+ times. We haven't talked a lot about Jamaica.
When you say 7+, you mean 7 and 8.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's 7+ and 7 and 8. 8 is plus of 7. What is your problem? It's plus of 7.
Okay, can I start with...
These people have been here -9 times.
I want to start with the lowest food on the totem pole, because you are not going to like this, but you have to have a juicy patty when you go to Jamaica.
Oh, yeah, you don't.
What is that?
That
sounds disgusting.
Wait a minute. What do you think it is?
It sounds like a burger that's not cooked and it's just got oozing out all over it. It sounds disgusting.
Okay. That's actually what you said is like actually better than what it is.
It's like a hamburger or a cheese or a chicken hot pocket that is just, it's handheld and it's
it's
amazing.
A hot pocket. That's their fast food. It's a hot pocket.
It's a hot pocket made
it's a hot mess is what it is.
It's so terrible. Good.
Yeah, it is. It really is so
good. When you order chicken, it comes with a green dot on it.
Oh.
It's on really, the pocket itself.
Yeah,
it's so
really,
good.
That's how they did, because they all look the same.
They're so stinking
this is
good.
Chicken. We just marked it with
So should we try it or no?
No, I
wouldn't. You should absolutely try it.
Don't try that.
Yes.
Don't try that crap.
Every culture has their form of a hot pocket.
Yeah, most people call it a sandwich, and it's okay. No, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. If you're going to go there,
Lee, you should pay attention to this.
If you're
everywhere
go
you
there,
go, there's going to be a version of a hot pocket. You should eat one everywhere you go.
No, you shouldn't.
Every country
you go to a grocery
to.
store or a restaurant or
no,
both?
it's basically a hut that looks like, but it's not a hut that's
like
intriguing.
A McDonald's.
Yeah, that's intriguing. That you're like, oh, that looks like they might have good food there. No, it's a hut that you're like, that looks like some place that I would never want to go.
Never pass an
let
inspection.
me go.
I have heard that you can actually buy juicy patties at Costco.
Costco here in the States?
Yes, I've heard that.
Well, Costco will be going under soon. This show will not be brought to you by Costco because those patties are terrible.
I love me a juicy patty.
So let's talk about the real Jamaican food.
Okay.
Let's talk about jerk.
You're
love
again, Troy.
Love the name, love the food. So jerk chicken, jerk sausage, jerk pork. All of that stuff is delicious, and it's not just the sauce. So the sauce, you can get jerk sauce here in the States, and it's that will make the jerk pretty good. But to make it really good jerk, you have to. Why are you laughing at me?
Stop jerking.
To make it really good jerk, it's the wood that they use. So when you pull up to a jerk hut. This thing is derailed so bad. When you pull up to a jerk hut, and I will tell you, we've eaten at Scotchy's in Montego Bay on Falmouth Road. Mm-hmm. We've eaten there probably half dozen times, maybe.
Scotchy's great.
And it's just this tiny little hut, but it's number 8 on TripAdvisor of best restaurants in Jamaica. It's delicious.
But is Galena Breeze's Jerk Shack the number 1?
No, it's not even on the list. because that's a tiny little place that nobody knows about.
And it's got the best jerk.
They do have better,
when you all say jerk, is it on everything, or is it just chicken primarily, or what?
So the jerk is a way of preparing it. It's the sauce, and it's a way of preparing it. So here, if you just grill out here and you put jerk sauce on it, it's going to be good. That's why you can't get really good jerk here, because there's a certain kind of wood, and I don't know what kind of wood it is, but there's a certain kind of wood that they cook the jerk on. And it's not that they, let me give you an example. So we go to Scotchy's, and the first time we go, I'm like, I'm not sure that I can eat that, because I come out and here comes this guy, and we're standing there watching them with a 5-gallon bucket full of chicken. So already that's a little gross. Yeah. And then he takes the chicken and throws it directly on the wood. Pimento wood. Okay, there you go.
Covers it with that metal. What's that metal?
So
siding.
He's got some metal siding that corrugated metal. That there's an echo.
Nice.
Jerk.
That's what we're talking about. So he covers it with this rusty corrugated metal and throws it right on top of this raw wood chicken that's right on top of the wood.
It is so stinking good.
And that's how that wood is what gives it the flavor and the smokiness, because that's why they put the siding over it. Gives it the flavor, and then the sauce is just kind of the topping.
The jerking is the cooking.
That's it. That's the jerking is the cooking. Yeah, if you're jerking, you're really cooking.
There are lots of different. There's lots of different sauces, because they have like dry rubs.
There's lots of ways to jerk.
They have dry rubs. They have all kinds of different sauces.
You can dry rub the jerk.
Okay. Oh my God.
You can wet rub the jerk. I mean, if you're into that, that's fine. It's all delicious.
This is surpassed.
So along with your jerk chicken or your jerk pork or your jerk sausage,
your jerk husband,
my jerk husband, you have to also get festival bread.
Oh yeah, so festival is kind of a sweet cornbread.
Oh,
and it's pretty delicious. That's another.
It comes in general,
Nobody can see your hands.
I want to say this, and you're going to get mad at me, but I'm going to say it anyway. In little, like, turd-sized.
Why would you say that? That is disgusting.
But that's kind of what they look like. They're little round,
it's like the size
short.
of a hot dog, maybe.
It's not quite that big.
Use something other than. Oh gosh. Okay, this thing has gone. It's derailed terribly. Anyway,
so it's your index finger,
but it's really fat.
There's some other appendage. Okay,
jerk
so
bread.
Anyway,
it's jerk
that's
bread.
not
it's
jerk
really
bread. It's festival.
Festival.
That's all I do is correct you. So festival bread. Yeah. So that's another staple along with jerk.
This podcast is definitely going viral, by the way.
And then you have to eat. So you get the jerk meat, you get the festival bread, and you get the beans and rice.
It's rice and peas.
It's rice
I'm
and peas.
correcting you again.
It's what you live for, honey. It's what you live for.
So rice and peas is.
And that's what you kind of get. You order that, and that's what you should eat. If you're going to have one meal in Jamaica, that's what you need to eat, because that's awesome.
So let's talk about some of the things. So those, I agree with you 100%. That's the thing that you're going to eat. But then there's ackee and breadfruit and callaloo and jackfruit. Those are kind of the 4 big things that are different.
They're all
And why
great.
don't you talk about what you like about each one, and I'll correct you.
You can correct me. Okay, ackie's the interesting one, right?
Yes,
okay.
That's the poison one.
Okay, so ackee. So this is what's really cool. Ackee is this fruit that grows on trees, and it falls off the tree and opens up on its own. If you go and pick the ackee off the tree and open it up yourself, it can kill you because it has like a poisonous gaseous stuff inside of it. So if you pick it too early and open it, it can. I think it paralyzes you or something. It's very bad.
It can also kill you if you eat it because you opened it.
Yeah.
So if the gas doesn't get you, it will the toxins in the actual ackee will.
So you have to wait for it to actually ripen up, to open up and release the gases. But this stuff is so great. It's like whenever they cook it, it's like scrambled eggs.
It's a fruit that she is not kidding.
Tastes like scrambled eggs.
And they will cook it and put some bacon in it. Mm-hmm. And
or saltfish.
Yeah, or saltfish. I don't love it, but I usually taste a little bit of it because it's a little too almost too eggy for eggs, if that makes sense.
Gosh, I love it.
And it is so strange to me that, first of all, they decided to try this because, my neighbor just died of this. So, yeah, sure, I'll try some. How did they get to that?
It's awesome. And it's red. So you'll see
bright red. Yep.
In Jamaica, you'll see the bus drivers or the cab drivers will have this red ball hanging from their rear view mirrors,
right?
Hanging from their rear view mirrors, or they'll have it as like
it's the national fruit.
Yeah. So you see this red fruit everywhere, and that's what it is. It's the ackee, and it can kill you, and it tastes really stinking good.
And it's savory. There's no sweetness in it at all.
Yep.
And Ben's showing us a picture of it.
Thank you, Ben.
Looks like it's got a blueberry in it.
Once again, that's the seed. But once again, nobody can see that but Ben.
Yeah.
And Georgette.
It's really good though.
And then what about callaloo? You should talk about that too.
Callaloo is a lot like spinach.
Yeah, some kind of green.
It's a green, but it's also, let me tell you, anything you eat that has been grown and picked and cooked in Jamaica is unbelievably good. This is good stuff, man.
I'm going to disagree with that.
The callaloo, is awesome. They'll cook the callaloo with some cabbage and some celery, and they'll just cook up some greens, and it's absolutely delicious.
If you like turnip greens and collard greens, you will like
Which I do.
Which I don't.
I love them.
So, and then breadfruit is, there's...
You talk about the breadfruit.
Okay, so I will talk about the breadfruit and the jackfruit because I'm going to end on jackfruit because that's my favorite.
You are.
But breadfruit is... You do not jerk the jackfruit. Breadfruit is another fruit. So they have a couple of fruits that are savory. And this one looks almost like it looks like a volleyball.
It's huge.
And it's yellow, and you cannot get into the thing. I mean, you would have to hack it with a machete. But what they do is take it and just set it right in the fire and let it cook right in the fire. And then that kind of breaks up the skin a little bit, and they peel it. And it has like the texture of bread. And it tastes like bread. It's like a really thick bread. And you use that, it's very starchy, so it's almost like a potato.
Cool.
And they use that as, even though it's called fruit, and it is technically a fruit, they use it kind of as a starch in their meal.
You gotta talk about a jelly. Don't forget to talk about a jelly.
You talk about a jelly.
Okay, there's a jelly. So did you know what a jelly is? You know what a jelly is? So you know what a coconut is. You know how whenever you go to a tropical island, you always see these guys with their machetes, and they're cutting up the coconut, right? And they're letting you drink from the coconut and eat the coconut.
And you put the lime in it.
Yeah.
And
do you put the rum in it too?
Mix it all up or something. Yeah. But a jelly is a young coconut. And they open it up, and it's jellied inside. And they eat the jelly. That's a jelly.
Yeah.
So they call it a jelly. But it's
really
just
pretty disgusting.
It's a young coconut.
It's almost like a gummy bear type, but softer. Oh. It's like sucking real jelly out of a jar.
We have a friend down there who swears by everything coconut. He says it whitens his teeth, it makes his skin good, it keeps him healthy and young. He swears by coconut milk, coconut water, all that jazz. And jellies.
Yes.
Yeah.
But let me finish this thing off by talking about jackfruit, which is delicious. So of all these things that we talked about, these fruits that they have, we haven't talked about anything sweet. Of course, they have mangoes, and they have pineapples, and bananas, and lots of bananas.
Bananas.
Jackfruit is something that you probably have not seen. Occasionally I'll see it in the grocery store here, and I'm guessing that nobody knows what it is. And I don't know how to tell if it's ripe. That's why
I've seen it recently.
I don't buy it. But it's got kind of little bumps on it, and it's huge. I mean, it's almost the size of a big melon, and it grows on a tree.
I thought that was the breadfruit.
No.
Almost looks like a cactus kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Like a melon cactus or something.
Yeah.
Like a combination. But when you cut that thing open, it's got all of these little pods in it, and I swear to you, I am not kidding. It tastes just like juicy fruit gum.
Interesting.
So, and the texture is almost like not quite as hard as gummy bears, more like Swedish fish or one of those kind of gummy treats.
Yeah.
But with the flavor of juicy fruit gum, and I can eat that. That melon is the size of a backpack, and I could eat that whole thing myself. So it's just something else to try if you get to Jamaica. You have to, obviously you're going to have the jerk that we talked about, and then you probably want want to try, if you're going to try some fruit, don't try pineapple, and you know what that tastes like. Try something different.
Try something different, yeah.
And if it's fruit, I would do the jackfruit.
And the Jamaicans call avocados pears.
They do. So if
a Jamaican
pear, it's an avocado.
It's an avocado, but it's really good.
Yeah, but it's an avocado. It's really good if you like avocado.
It's just good. I mean, it's because it's grown right there. I mean, we are not used to really good fruits and vegetables because all of our fruits and vegetables are ripened in the truck.
All right. So, what else do you have to add? I think we've really kind of talked about all that we can talk about and derailed as much as we can on Jamaica.
So we could talk about the people. The people are fabulous in Jamaica. I really enjoy the folks in Jamaica. They're just
fabulous.
They're pleasant and nice, and we have some really, really good friends in Jamaica, and I enjoy going to visit.
Do you ever worry about your well-being? If you're, let's say, of course, where you guys go, it's different, but
we're always around friends.
And,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that if you get
away from a resort,
if you get away from that, I think you should not do that by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like any other third world country. You're not going to want to venture by yourself without a guide away from where tourists are.
But I still think if you're not out, I feel like if you're not out in the middle of the night or where you're not supposed to be, I feel like you'll be fine.
I feel like that all the time everywhere I go, but I would not recommend it still. I think it's a third world country, and if you're wearing a lot of jewelry and stuff, you have
then you're stupid.
Somebody might come by or if you're white, somebody might come by and say, "No, let me."
No, what they'll do
is
they'll come by and say, "Hey, the best place to eat is down the road here, or are you lost?"
Yeah. And do you have any money to pay me?
No, they're not. Just calm. It's not
okay.
that bad.
So why don't you give me your final thoughts about how great the Jamaican people are, or
do they talk about Usain Bolt like crazy or no?
They love Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
And you know who else they love? Kenny Rogers.
They do love Kenny Rogers.
Yes.
Oh yeah, everybody knows who
he
Kenny
looks
Rogers
like
down
Usain
there.
Bolt. I can see that.
I think Kenny Rogers. I think they have a home. Oh, Kenny Rogers and what's her name? The long-haired, dark singer, I cut myself's wife. Come on, guys.
Are you talking about Johnny Cash?
Yes. Loretta Cash.
Listen, her name's not Loretta. Her name's June Carter.
June Carter.
And if you're talking about Johnny Cash, the last thing I would think of is his redo of the 9 Inch Nails song. He's got 1 million songs.
It's the one that sets the strongest with me. I don't know. Anyways, they love those because they had houses down there and would go on vacations and stuff and were really good to the people around them and everything. And so that's why they love Kenny Rogers. They love the Cash Carter family. I'm trying to be nice.
Okay.
Anyways,
well, give me your final thoughts.
I love Jamaica. I love the Jamaican people, and I'm crazy about the food. It's a good place to visit.
And what are your final thoughts there, Lee?
I like it. You guys make it sound appealing.
Shut up. You don't have any final thoughts.
Yeah, you guys are terrible. Forget it. No, you guys make it sound appealing. It sounds like a place that I'm interested in. I want to go.
God, speaking of jerk.
And yeah, seriously. So I'll get there one day.
We've never gone to one of the all inclusives. I'd like to do one.
Yeah.
I worry that I'd miss our friends.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it might be nice to just go down there and be waited on. And
Yeah, man.
Well, my final thoughts are, you should definitely go. You are going to want to go to Ocho Rios because it's where most of the touristy stuff is. And the first time that you go, you're going to want to do some of that touristy stuff. You want to do the Blue Hole. You're going to do Dunn's River Falls. Both those are great. All of the kind of stuff that you can do right around Ocho Rios. There's Royal Caribbean has, and you know I love Royal Caribbean, has their own port, Falmouth, which is about an hour from Ocho Rios. But you can still get excursions that'll take you all the way into Ocho Rios to do all those cool things that are there. Cool. And you could just hang out around Montego Bay. There are some nice beaches there also. So why don't we cue the music, and why don't you end our podcast? Not forever, just for this episode.
All right. Hopefully not forever. It's better to go someplace that you hate than to not go anywhere at all.
That's right. So go.
Go travel.
Go travel.
Go see Jamaica.
Right. Go see Jamaica.
Yeah, no doubt.
We're out of here. All right. How'd that go?
Okay.
I'm not playing with y'all anymore.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Y'all
are you talking about?
With the
Why are you saying I'm mean?
You learn the hand signals. This
I got all kinds of hand signals. I can give you some hand signals.
Yeah, I was trying to say I usually just get the middle finger. You're lucky.
That's universal for you. Oh, God. This means either wrap it up or keep talking over what I'm saying.
Oh, I didn't know you meant kept talking over
keep talking.
How am I supposed to know this means
keep
stop
going.
and go?
He does like this stuff
this
like this.
one thing means stop and go.
Yeah.
Listen,
dude.
I'm just, you should take your cues off of me.
Yeah.
Remember.
I'm going to cue off of you in a minute.
Oh, crap. Right, that was great, man.
Yeah, you deserve whatever you got coming. That's for sure.
Hey, screw you. Do you think this is going to get us kicked off the Scruffy Audio Network? I mean, really?
Let's just hope the high ups don't listen to this.
All right, let's get off here.